After it's been almost a decade since this ragtag team came to the big screen, they have finally come to their swan song, as I've just seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 now playing in theaters. But is this finale to the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy any good like the other two? Or are we just doing for yet another big disappointment from Marvel Studios? Considering Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania got the cold shoulder. Watch the spoiler-free review and find out. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Enough said. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers and true believers out there. Welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a spoiler-free review of the just now released superhero flick, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Distributed by Disney and produced by Marvel Studios, this is the final installment of the film trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the 32nd overall film in the MCU. Once again, written and directed by James Gunn, featuring the Big Ensemble Cast that includes Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bautista, Gillan, Pom Klementieff, Vin Diesel, and Bradley Cooper, once again lending their voices, plus others. And of course, old Sly himself, Sylvester Stallone. And this time around, the Guardians embark on a mission to protect Rocket, their furry friend of a raccoon and member, of course, from the High Evolutionary. Now, I'll give you my brief bits of the story, but not all of it. This is a spoiler-free review. Now, first of all, if you haven't seen my re-reviews of the first two films, click on that card and it'll take you to the playlist in case you might have missed them, or if you want to see them again. I can see they've both done much better than my original reviews. Thank you. Well, apparently, this film was to come out a little earlier, but despite controversial posts on Twitter from Gunn, he got fired and decided to work on the Suicide Squad, which, of course, Gunn is, after this, has been his last Marvel film. He's gone to DC, and then he just more recently followed up with its spin-off series, Peacemaker. Anyway, this is the newest film in Phase 5. And, well, I will say it's gotten some pretty good reviews, though. We kind of start out with a little bit of a slow bit and what have you in the beginning. That's just a slight negative I have with seeing young Rocket being experimented on as a subject by the High Evolutionary, a scientist who sought to enhance all animal life forms into an anthropomorphic species to create a counter-Earth. And he becomes friends with 3 other subjects. But anyway, in the present, they've established their headquarters, the Guardians have, on a rebuilt nowhere, but are attacked by Adam Warlock, a superpowered being created out of revenge by his mother and the High Priestess of the Sovereign, Aisha. If you recall from the end of the last film, for the Guardians previously stealing from her people. And they are ordered to bring Rocket to the High Evolutionary, who has become obsessed with retrieving him to replicate Rocket's intellect. And during the fight, M is defeated by Nebula, but Rocket is seriously injured, leaving the Guardians unable to tend to his wounds due to a kill switch embedded in him. And so they resolve to override Rocket's kill switch by traveling to the Orgoscope headquarters of the High Evolutionaries company, OrgaCorp. It helps to find an override code. And they get assistance from the Ravagers and a reluctant Gamora, who is apparently much more different and what have you. But anyway, that's all the story I'm going to give to you. No more, because this is... no. I am going to say, from what I've seen of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I think this is another good film. While it might not quite come close to my liking of the first two films, but nevertheless, I think it was very satisfying. The film has received great reviews. It's currently certified fresh on the tomato meter at Rotten Tomatoes, now at 81%, saying that a galactic group hug that might squeeze a little too tight on the heartstrings. The final Guardians of the Galaxy is a loving last hurrah for the MCU's most ragtag family. Truly, I couldn't agree more. Well, anyway, The Independent called it the best Marvel movie in years, as did Vox. And a review from The Guardian stated that this Guardians of the Galaxy has reached the threequel stage. Overlong, yes, and never reaching for importance or emotional closure. Yeah. Although the BBC was mixed on it, and NPR kind of dissed it and what have you, due to the approach of cruelty to animals in the film. What can I say? We understand, but nevertheless, still a great film. Now, I will point out you gotta stay tuned through the movie because there's two scenes. There's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. Now, like the last film, you get to hear some more pretty good tunes and what have you. You'll get to hear the special acoustic version of Creep from Radiohead for Sting. You'll also hear some other songs like Heart's Crazy on You, Rainbows Since You've Been Gone, and In the Meantime by Space Hog, which you actually got to hear that in the trailers for the film, as a matter of fact. Plus, you get to hear Alice Cooper, Bruce Springsteen, and more. So, anyway, so you'll hear some pretty good tunes. Also, they bring John Murphy on board to do the score. And from what I've seen, I think he did a pretty good job on doing the score. Of course, this is the second time he had done work with the Guardians. He had more recently worked on the music for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that aired on Disney Plus last year. So anyway, and also he has recently done, well, co-composed music for films like Miami Vice and even Kick-Ass. And he replaced Tyler Bates, who actually scored the first two Guardians films, to compose the score for Gunn's recent hit, The Suicide Squad. So he did a pretty good job as well. I'm impressed with that. Now, as for our cast, we once again have Chris Pratt back on board as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord. I will say he's still pretty good and what have you. And I really liked his performance. Gamora is back, once again played by Zoe Saldana. Now, of course, if you remember, the original version was killed by Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, which I know recently celebrated its 5th anniversary recently, but I am planning to re-review that film along with Avengers Endgame later on in the future. Anyway, now she's serving as leader of the Ravagers. Dave Bautista's back as Drax the Destroyer, and I'm going to say he was really good as well. Karen Gillan's back as Nebula, and I will say she's really good as well. Pom Klementieff returns as Mantis, and let me tell you, she is outrageously really funny. Vin Diesel returns as the voice of Groot. I'm looking forward to seeing him in Fast X later in the month, which I will be reviewing that. And Bradley Cooper once again voicing Rocket. I know he was absent for most of the movie after his, encounter with Adam Warlock, but however, he still did an amazing job and what have you. Now we have Sean Gunn back on board as Kraglin, who of course was Yondu's former second in command after we lost him in the last film. And Chukwudi Iwuji, if I mispronounced that name, I apologize, played the High Evolutionary. What can I say? He was pretty good. Will Poulter played Adam Warlock, and Elizabeth Debicki once again played Aisha. And we have Maria Bakalova as Cosmo in this one. Well, the voice of it. Of course, that was the dog. We saw that character in Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special as well. And Sylvester Stallone once again played Stacker. Oh god. So anyway, yeah, I will say they were all really good. So, and there's a host of others and what have you. But anyway, from what I've seen, from my point of view, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was, well, Volume 3, what I mean, was not bad. It was pretty darn awesome, and it was superb. I mean, well, it's not quite come close to being completely great like the first two, but it does its extreme best, and I still enjoyed it. Anyway, the positive reviews were just for a lot of things, including James Gunn's direction and screenplay, which, yes, I agree, I like those. The performances, particularly of Iwuji and Cooper's vocal effects, plus action sequences, soundtrack, visual effects, cinematography, emotional weight, and humor, with many deeming it a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. Definitely a great ending to the trilogy. I think this was perfect. And I think this was just a wee bit better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I certainly do agree. So that's about it. But I think this was a big comeback for the MCU. Even though I still liked what I saw in some of their previous films, like Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and even Thor: Love and Thunder. But this is the best I've seen since Spider-Man: No Way Home. But you don't have to take my word for it. You be the judge. Anyway, for my score, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 5 stars, which of course means on a scale of 1 to 10, it gets a 10. So, what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Now I was going to give you the first of some video game reviews next time, but you'll still get those. But next time, I will give you another spoiler-free review on another film I watched. I won't tell you what it is, though. Just stay tuned and you'll see, okay? So, I do hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, you may want to consider checking out these other reviews and what have you. In the upper left-hand corner is my spoiler-free review for a film I was just talking about, Spider-Man: No Way Home. The upper right-hand corner is my spoiler-free review of the previous MCU film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Or if you like something that's not Marvel, but was directed by James Gunn anyway, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of The Suicide Squad from 2021. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya and Excelsior! Bye now.